Mark, just in terms of the valuations, record highs, we've just listed out a whole load of problems. Is there a valuation problem here? I sense there isn't. What's your view?
I think there is not a problem. I think there is definitely stocks that you've all mentioned that have had a tremendous run this quarter, and at the same time they've all had tremendous problems intra-quarter. And you look at all four stocks, they've all been materially higher the last few weeks. They've also been materially lower both this quarter and this year, and that tells you the opportunities there. I think the overall opportunity for the companies has not changed. I think the overall market cap that they're going to garner has not changed. It's going to continue to go up, but they're also going to have their individual stories that you got to pay attention to, whether it's Amazon with president's tweets, whether it's Facebook with the data breaches, etc. They give you opportunities to enter the greatest stocks that we have in the marketplace, and we should all be paying attention when we get those opportunities to own these stocks for the long term.
Mark, the opportunity for the long term over the last 5 years has just been riding really strong, powerful secular growth stories. I just wonder how powerful those growth stories are, though. How immune are these companies, these big names, to a downturn that could happen in the next several years?
I think all these stocks will suffer if we have a major downturn. I think nobody is immune, and the market is not immune. These are all companies that have been benefiting, obviously, from huge markets and from low interest rates and from a global expansion. We see some of those things change. They're going to have multiple contraction. But I do not think in the long term these stories have all found their end. I mean, we have, on the show, you and I have talked about it before, we've poked holes in these stories for a very, very long time. And I think what you're seeing is marketplaces that have not changed. You've seen users that are expanding. You look at Facebook, and a billion people a day check their Facebook, and you see what they're doing with Instagram and other ways to make more capital. You look at Amazon, potentially going into the home and the insurance market and other things they're doing. You look at Netflix and how they're garnering new markets. I just don't see these stories having a hard time gaining market share going forward. You do have to watch the multiples as things contract globally, but over time you're going to want to find entry points for these stories.
Mark, just to wrap things up, they are very, very different companies. We talked to them about tech stocks, but ultimately Netflix is incredibly different to, say, Google, and Google incredibly different to, say, Facebook. Where you can split these up into two broad categories is direct-to-consumer and the ad model, the revenue coming from advertising and the free platform that you offer to a consumer. Those two groups, are you more bullish one over the other?
That's a great question. I do think you're looking at overall markets. The consumer market is so large and so global, and I think the penetration for them globally is so minute. I mean, what we see for them domestically has been tremendous, but you see the international expansion opportunities for all of those. The ad market is big, but it's not unlimited, and I think some of those other markets are. And I think you are seeing companies that are redefining what it means to be a tech company. I would not call Amazon a tech company, just like I wouldn't call Facebook just a tech company. There's so much more. We haven't even talked about Apple. All those companies are much more than tech companies, and lumping them as just that is just not a good idea.